hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you'll be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, at optimistic.tv, we have officially begun releasing the first few episodes of our new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video variety talk show, Optimistic, which features live visionary art, soul share interviews, retreat guests here at the Mystic Manor, as well as live musical performances. I'm also super excited to announce that we are currently making plans to release the rest of Season 1 on my personal favorite online streaming service. So stay tuned to optimistic.tv to follow the unfolding development of this exciting Optimistic expansion, as we'll be posting more info and release dates there soon. And in the meantime, be sure to check out, of course, the first few episodes at optimistic.tv as well. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to the show. So happy to be here again to connect, grow, explore, ponder, etc. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a documentary that I watched recently called First Contact with Bashar. You guys have heard some Bashar clips on in the past, and really enjoy the information. Or Daryl Anka is the guy. Bashar is the entity claims to channel. Really just enjoy a lot of the information that comes through him and his delivery. If you haven't seen him, he's very interesting, very funny. But so much wisdom flows through this guy. And one of the things that was, first off, the whole documentary is his story, his journey, his, how he ended up doing this very unique work that he does. And it was great. It was great to kind of hear the whole background. I love a good story. And it's a good one. So I checked that out. But one of the things that was talked about in it was some of the teachings that came through were the 5 universal laws that Bashar talks about. And I really resonated with those. And of course, they're things that we've all talked about on the show before, but the way they're laid out, I want to explore a little bit today. And I think it's something always good to kind of revisit over and over again as well for anyone who's just new tuning into this show and maybe hasn't heard sort of my whole breakdown of the ultimate nature of reality. Maybe they haven't heard an episode, or they just hear bits and pieces, right? Because imagine if you're just listening to the show for the first time, what are you picking up on? What is it that you're, it sort of can take a while to piece together the whole puzzle. So I think it's good to revisit these universal laws and some of these concepts all tied together in one episode. So we're going to do that from Bashar's perspective. And before I do, I would like to take a moment to read a review. You guys know I love my iTunes reviews. Not only do they help us to reach new people, but they definitely help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love, just continue doing this. And so if you haven't ever reviewed on iTunes, it is the holy grail of all things podcasting, and I certainly would love it if you would take the time to review on there or anywhere that you can find, the podcast you can find, of course, on any sort of podcast apps or SoundCloud or Google Play, but I don't think a lot of them don't have review mechanisms. And and iTunes does, and it helps us to reach new people when you review. So let's see here. All right, this first review came in by Tadigo Designs, and it's short but sweet. Another open-minded Christian. And of course, I love hearing that. I love open minds. We welcome any and everyone of all religious faiths. And so hearing that short but sweet, thank you, Tadigo Designs, for being an open-minded Christian. Certainly, as the saying goes, minds are like parachutes. They only function when they're open. So we all, I don't care what our beliefs are, need to keep an open mind and keep questioning and exploring and pushing ourselves to expand our perspectives and understanding of this great mystery that is life on planet Earth. Another review here I'll go ahead and read since that one was short and sweet. This is by Nerd Girl NYC. Aloha, spreading love daily. How funny, because I just got an email with aloha as the intro from someone else. I've been listening to this podcast for a few months now on the recommendation of a friend. It has changed my life. The constant influx of positivity has really helped my day-to-day life. Helps me stay positive for the people around me too, and I know I'm raising not only my vibrations, but the vibrations of the people around me. Brandon is easy to listen to and has given me some of my favorite words to live by. Where attention goes, energy flows. Thanks, Brandon. Aw. Well, thank you, Nerd Girl NYC. I appreciate you sending the energy back my direction and completing this circle of love I'm putting out into the world and helping to fuel my fire. You are officially helping to light and fuel this podcast today. So thank you so much. All right. So moving along, let's get back to what I was starting to talk about a little bit. The 5 universal laws from Bashar. And if you guys want to hear him talk about this, you can check out a documentary, like I said, called First Contact, about his life and his journey, and really cool, fascinating. Actually, one of the clips in it shows him giving a talk at Lightning in a Bottle. And if you pause it, I didn't do it. You can probably see me a few years ago, maybe 2014-ish. He was at Lightning in a Bottle Festival, and I was there, and I was sitting like right down in front of him. I have my umbrella with sacred geometry on it. You can kind of see it was opened up. Anyway, I've seen the clip one time before, and it looked like it was the same scene. So I bet I'm in there somewhere. But so the 5 universal laws, right? Number 1, he says, you exist. You always have and you always will. You are eternal. This is something that we need to come back to over and over and over again, I would say. And it's something you guys hear me say in a similar way. You hear me often say, you're an eternal being that's always been and always will be. And that is exactly, something... It's exactly what he's saying here. You always have, you always will, you're eternal. So you also constantly hear me say, you weren't created. Whoever's listening, if you're 21, 31, 51, maybe 27 and a half. Any age, in case you don't pick up what I'm putting down, is a good age to apply this idea to, that you didn't get created when you were born X number of years ago. You incarnated in the physical dimension X number of years ago. You have amnesia to what went on before. Now, you have people whose amnesia is lifting, and they're having memories and having experiences on that realm from where we came from. I think of Eben Alexander's interview, which I reference often. He talked about when his time on the other side, going in the sort of waiting room that souls were in before they were incarnating in the physical dimension, and how familiar it seemed to him. Oh, I've been here many times before. Okay, well, there's lots of things that you've done before that maybe you've forgotten, right? You don't remember where your mother took you for breakfast that March morning, and when you're 1 year old, probably. But it happened. It's there, and you could probably even access it through hypnosis or something like that, right? People are doing that sort of thing all the time. So just expand that a little bit. You are eternal. You've always been. That is such a wonderful thing to really, really wrap your brain around, that you are, you're not something that is just here temporarily and you're going to go back to nothingness and die. And, such a big, big fear for so many people. is this idea that, oh my gosh, I think of one of my son's friends who is, he talks about how he's very scared of death. He also doesn't believe in any of this sort of woo-woo kind of stuff, right? So he's super fearful of death. How many people are super fearful of death because they don't really know yet that they're eternal? Once you know that, you can really relax about everything else because, well, as the 5 universal laws touch on, there's some implications, and I'll move on to number 2. Everything is here and now. So you exist, you always have, you always will, you're eternal, number 1. Number 2, everything is here and now, right? You are always in the now. You are always in the now. That's where your power resides. The future doesn't ever show up like you imagine. The past doesn't exist. You can't show it to me. You can't, where is it? Show it right now. You can't. It's not there. You're always in a now. And because you're eternal, you're going to always be in some now. 1 billion years, Earth years from now, you're going to exist in some other now. And what you find is it's always okay in the now. So knowing that you're eternal, okay, I can relax. There's plenty of time. Your eternal really means there is no time. You can, in that eternity, play the game of time if you want, which you're doing, right? But you're always going to be in a now. And if you look, no matter, even if your nows that you can remember have been challenging in some sort of way, you've always been able to cope with them, right? You've always gotten through them if they were challenging. And if they weren't challenging, they were joyful. And even if they were challenging, they helped to bring the joy of the next nows oftentimes. So they were really serving you too. So everything is here and now. It always will be here and now. Your power is by moving more fully into the now. Your anxiety comes from worry about the future. Depression comes from obsessing about the past, right? Move into the now, and becomes more vivid. It becomes more alive. It becomes more vibrant. The colors become richer. This is, living in the now. You can see the people who are not in the now, right? You can just look at them and they're sort of this blank stare. They're lost somewhere else in an imaginary world that is just grasping at straws, right? I'm worried about the future, anxious about the future. What's going to happen? You don't even know. Whatever it is, you can be sure it's not going to show up just like you think. So relax into the now. Okay, number 3. The one is the all, and the all is the one. Well, that's sort of the premise of everything we talk about, right? Everywhere you go, you're there waiting for yourself. There are no others. You are an extension of the source that creates and animates all things. I think of our friend that talked about being an open-minded Christian, right? A lot of the, in the review earlier, one of the things that Christians are, I feel like there sort of creates a barrier there, and it's fine. It's all perfect. It's all perfect wherever you are. If you are a Christian, great. But what I would just recommend you to consider and to ponder, and obviously you're pondering if you're listening to the show, is if God is the Alpha and the Omega, as the Bible talks about, right? The beginning and the end, the Alpha, the Omega, the all, right? And you exist, what are you? So the one is the all, and the all is the one. It is within you. You are within it. You are the drop out of the ocean, but the ocean's within the drop. It's all reflected on just fractals of source. And really, really not just thinking about this in that's a interesting thought, back to feeling like I'm the separate small peon with no power or any creative ability at my disposal. No, stop that. You are the creator. You are the one. There is no separation. And that's, what happens a lot of times with religion. They're creating a separation between you and source. Well, God is here. And then here's this conduit guy that you need to go through. A lot of times with Jesus, it's like, who was just teaching, I and the Father are one. He was teaching this same information. There is no barrier. There is no priest. There is no rabbi. There is no, anything that you need to go through to get to your divinity, because you're it. It is the one is the all, and the all is the one. Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Curable. Curable is an app that takes a different approach to helping people manage and alleviate their chronic pain. I know it's been hard to watch my own father, who I've always viewed as indestructible, become increasingly limited in his movements due to chronic knee pain and having to deal with the frustration of not knowing how to treat it effectively. Fortunately, modern neuroscience is illuminating more and more how chronic pain develops and worsens. Studies show that the brain and central nervous system play a much more significant role in chronic pain than we once thought, and by retraining the brain to process pain differently, we can reduce symptoms and gain more control. So if you're struggling with chronic pain, the Curable app can help you get your life back by guiding you through science-backed techniques designed to help you overcome fear of movement, symptoms, and never getting better. It also offers strategies that can help retrain your brain's response to pain and in many cases reduce the intensity and frequency of symptoms. Curable offers both a free and paid version of the app. If you use our link to sign up and get started with the free version, you'll get 50% off if you ever decide to upgrade to a subscription. Just go to getcurable.com/positivehead to set up your free account. That's spelled GETCurable.com/positivehead. What you put out is what you get back. This is number 4. What you put out is what you get back. Why is that the case, I wonder? Well, if it's all you, who are you doing it to? Anyone who's ever tried to deceive, if you've ever partaken in a lie, raise your hand. Okay, we all raised our hands. Good. So here's the thing. It's one thing to lie and deceive and do things that are sort of self-serving and manipulative, and that whole vibration that you think based off of limited understanding is actually serving you when it's not, because what's happened for all of us, and we've all been there, we've all done it. But what's happened is you just thought that actually served you. The only one you can ever deceive is yourself. That's the funny thing. Once you understand this stuff, what you put out is what you get back. If you try and deceive another, guess who you're deceiving? You. And you're going to feel the energetic repercussions of that because they are you. Everywhere you go, you're there waiting for yourself. Manipulating others, who are you manipulating? Yourself. So imagine moving into a full understanding that the one is the all and the all is the one. What you put out is what you get back. And as a result, you just become completely transparent. You stop trying to guess the chess pieces 10 steps ahead with manipulation and all this exhausting energy, keeping track of your lies and all those things. What if you just stopped all that based off of an understanding of actually what's going on, become very transparent, you're relaxed about needing any particular results of here's just what is, let the chips fall where they may, I'm eternal anyway, why am I going to stress about this, right? What you'll find, not only is this the path of a much easier, relaxed life, takes way less energy, it's going to lead to the best results. Even if you can't see it, you can see one step ahead and you can guess that, if I manipulate here, I'll get more. Well, that's just a deception and actually not the case. So I would challenge you, if you just put all that down, if you're someone out there who struggles with any of this stuff, no big deal. We're all been there. Everyone who goes through this phase in their evolution as they expand and understand more. I challenge you to just become completely transparent. Just stop. No more manipulations. No, I'm going to be ridiculously honest because I understand that I'm going to test to see if that really pans out the way Brandon's saying it'll pan out. It'll pan out in a way that is optimal for me that I maybe couldn't even see by connecting the dots and guessing. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to know that the only deception, I'm going to test the idea that the only one I can deceive is myself. And I'm going to stop doing those sorts of things. Watch. I dare you. See what it does for you. It's going to change your world. And you're like, wow, this is how you do it? It's this easy? I don't even have to try. I don't got to outthink anyone. I don't got to trick anyone. I don't got to manipulate to get what I want. No, you are source. You are creator. It is, you're divine. You're regal. You are, royal blood. You're divine. You exist. You've always been. You don't need to lower yourself to try and manipulate anything. Just relax and start owning this divine right, your divine birthright. I've heard it said before, it's like the prince or princess that's waking from a slumber and, has slumbered that they're, poor and, desolate and not enough and lack of abundance and all these things. And then they kind of, they have this vivid dream and then they wake up and they're actually remember, oh, I'm the prince or princess living in the castle. You are that. But when you act in these ways, when you act small, when you try and deceive all these things, what are you doing? You're cutting off how source thinks. You're cutting off your alignment with your higher self, and you're going to get crappy results, not abundant results. So let's all stop that, shall we? Okay, so we've got the first 4. You exist, you always have, and you always will. You're eternal. Number 1. Number 2, everything is here and now. Number 3, the one is the all and the all is the one. Number 4, what you put out is what you get back. Number 5, everything changes except for the first 4. I love number 5. Isn't that great? The only thing in life guaranteed is change. The only constants are that you exist, you always have, you always will, you're eternal. Everything is here and now. The one is the all and the all is the one. What you put out is what you get back. Those are constants. Everything else changes. So if there's something that you don't like that's outside of those 4, we can relax about it because guess what? It's going to change. And if you love what's happening, same thing. Appreciate it. It's going to change. Don't take it for granted. I've done so much taking for granted people, relationships, things that I now look back and say, man, I wish I was more fully in the present. I wish I was living in the now because that interaction with that soul was precious and sacred and divine and transient. It has a shelf life. So which thankfully it does, because if it didn't have a shelf life, then it would become like, oh man, I've got to, I don't get a break from this person or this experience. Therefore it sucks now, right? Because it's transient, that's a gift. Because it's temporary, that's a gift. Bring that awareness into the moment. Your partner, your child, any of those things today, live more fully in the now. They're transient. That 3-year-old you have, the way I look at it, my son is 18 now. That 3-year-old, that 2-year-old that came up to me and would say these beautiful things and just like the cutest kid ever. Of course, I'm a dad, so I have to say that, but I'm a little biased. But, this beautiful child that would come up to me and hug me and fall asleep in my arms, and I, would carry all the time. He's gone. Now it's like, hey, Dad, can I have money for, he's in New York visiting his friends. Like, it's a totally different being. Yes, it's that he grew out of that little child, but that little child is effectively dead. It's gone, right? It doesn't exist. It's not here anymore. So bring that awareness to the now, the relationship to the now, with your partner, with your parents, all of these things. You're so worried about getting somewhere and achieving something. If this happens, I'll be happy one day, X, if X, Y, Z. That is a fool's errand. The now is where it's at. The now is where just stop. You're eternal. You're never going to get there. Even when you get to wherever it is you've been striving to at the expense of the now, even when you get there, there's going to be there's going to be something else then that you want. It's not going to be quite what you expected. It's going to be different. You'll find new things to fixate on. So just stop, smell the roses, understand you start acting like the divine, regal, royal soul that you are. And when you start behaving in that way by applying this wisdom to everything, making it the operating system from which you navigate 3D reality, you're going to start seeing the quality of your experience dramatically change. You're going to start to see how in control you are by letting go of all the stress, anxiety, worry, all these sort of chains, this baggage that we've been carrying with operating. We've been operating from, faulty with a faulty operating system, and that's okay. It's part of it. Look at what Microsoft Windows looks like today compared to 1990, right? Quite different. It worked then, but upgrade. It worked then, but upgrade. We're upgrading. Take these 5 universal laws, burn them into your brain, burn them into your heart, upgrade yourself. I know I'm going to. I know I'm continuing to. This podcast is my way of burning them into myself. And the fact that you're here with me to take that ride is such an honor and privilege. And I love you all so much. I do have a song to leave you with. This is a song by my good friend, one of my best friends, Stefan Jacobs, who's a producer DJ. He collaborated with another producer DJ, Antenne, who I really like as well. One day, actually, I contributed a little bit to this song. I'm happy to say, proud to say, I get my little credit here. So one day they were working in San Francisco on making this music, and Stefan reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're looking for some kind of a female, sample clip, talking about some cool stuff. What do you got?" Knowing that I would probably have some sort of suggestion for him. Instantly what came to mind was the documentary, What the Bleep Do We Know? If you guys haven't seen What the Bleep Do We Know, by the way, awesome documentary. It's sort of like it's a documentary / movie. They go in and out of like documentary style to a story. It's pretty unique. But it's all about science and spirituality and sort of the merging of the two, and looking at things from a scientific perspective and how we rewire our brain, and how, law of attraction works, and, how, Dr. Emoto's work of, how water molecules are changed with when monks meditate on them. If they are loving, you see one thing under a microscope. If they're sending negative energy, you see something totally different. So it's really cool documentary. I highly recommend you guys to check it out. If you're looking for something that really bridges the gap between science and spirituality, What the Bleep Do We Know? You can actually see it on Gaia. So that's get on Gaia if you're not on there. As my little ads for Gaia tell you, you can get on for 99 cents. So What the Bleep Do We Know? This is a clip from that. So that day when Stefan reached out to me, I was like, this thing popped into my head. Here you go. And they ended up, they did a little EP together, multiple songs. They ended up naming the EP Magnetic Fields, which is the name of the song, which, in the clip, you'll hear Magnetic Fields being said. This is the title track from the EP. Stefan Jacobs and Antenne, Magnetic Fields. Hope you guys enjoy. Until next time, journey well. Love you all. Also, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to remind you about the game with the universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind, and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time. And if you go to positivehead.com/universe, there is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and greatest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to spark the curiosity of friends and family by having them choose a number, so they'll hopefully go and check out their number as well, which I greatly appreciate because it helps us to spread the word about the podcast. Once again, the address is positivehead.com/universe. And as a quick reminder, if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them almost every day, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and grandest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I cannot stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so. I have my favorite, the appleberry shake, at least 5 times a week. Once again, to learn more about the Purium transformation, go to positivehead.com/transformation. Or if you want to keep it simple and just try out my favorite, the appleberry shake, you can go straight over to ishoppurium.com and be sure to use code positivehead for 25% off. I'll spell that for you. It's ishoppurium.com. And be sure to use your Positive Head 25% coupon code.
magnetic fields of
0 point
energy, 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 beyond our wildest dreams. Emulate nature in its absolute splendor. The Milky Way, magnetic fields. And if we can do that, the greatness beyond our wildest dreams. Heart unit on Earth. Indeed, the Milky Way. Magnetic fields of
0 point
energy. 0 point energy. Beyond our wildest dreams. Emulate nature in its absolute splendor.